we will provide it to you. Don't worry, we will provide. Okay, now we are starting with the class. So I welcome you all to Plutus IAS Academy, and this is Rajyavardhan Singh Pundir. You do not have to remember the full name, only remember me as Raja. Okay. So before starting with the intellectual property rights, I would like to tell you a few things about UPSC. See, every year 10 lakh students,
Sir,
they fill.
Sorry to interrupt you. We think that the recording is not yet started because there are several students who are working and they go to the recording if they miss the class. So if you could once
Okay.
check if the meeting is recorded.
Okay. Let me check it. So I think it is on now. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So every year 10 lakh students, they fill the form for the UPSC examination. And out of these 10 lakh students, 4.5 lakh, they actually appear in this exam. And out of these 4.5 lakhs, in the first stage, that is the prelims, the 10,000 students, they pass the prelims stage. That is, they get to write the mains examination. So only the 10,000 students, they will write the mains examination. And out of these 10,000 students, only 2,000, they will get the call for the interview. And finally, 700 to 800 selections are there. Okay. So the rejection rate in the first stage, that is the prelims, there is the 97% rejection rate. And in the main stage, 20% of the students, they are getting selected. But in the prelims, only 2% are getting selected. But at the main stage, 20% of the students, they are getting selected. So how to handle this UPSC examination? It is the game of temperament, consistency, hard work. Okay, so you have to remain motivated throughout your journey of the UPSC preparation. It is very much doable, it is very much achievable in the first attempt itself. And the requirements are to do it in the first attempt, proper planning, and proper strategy. The planning and strategy portion, you left it on ourselves, and only you have to put in your hard work. And together we will sail through this examination. Okay, success will be yours. So let's start with our intellectual property rights, and before that, let me brief you about the UPSC syllabus. See, this is the syllabus for mains examination that is mentioned in the UPSC syllabus. In the prelims examination, they have mentioned only general science. If you have gone through the syllabus, in the prelims, it is mentioned only as general science, and the main syllabus is this. So the developments related to science and technology, applications and developments related to science and technology, you have to cover these from the newspaper, like the 3D printing technique, the gene editing technique. Okay, you will be doing these from the newspapers. And the achievements of Indians in science and technology, indigenization of technology and new technologies, you have to cover all these from the newspaper and from the books. Awareness in the field of IT, space, computers, robotics, nanotech, and the IPR issues, intellectual property right. It is mentioned in the UPSC syllabus. So all of you have to do one thing. Go to the website of the institute, download the syllabus, and take a printout of it. And everyone should have that printout, that syllabus pasted on your walls or on your almiras. Okay. Every day, each day, you have to go through the UPSC syllabus so that you can connect to the syllabus. Whenever you are reading the newspaper, you must know that this particular topic belongs to that part of the syllabus. So that's why हर बच्चा एक कॉपी डाउनलोड करे और उस सिलेबस को चिपका ले अलमारी पे कहीं भी, और सिलेबस एनग्रेव्ड होना चाहिए आप लोगों के दिमाग पे. ओके, ये काम करना है और 1 महीने तक डेली सिलेबस के थ्रू आपको ग्लांस करना है और सिलेबस आपके माइंड में छपा होना चाहिए. ओके, एम आई क्लियर? हर कोई करेगा ना ये काम?
Yes, sir.
That's good. So in this syllabus, it is mentioned the intellectual property rights. Okay. So intellectual property, we will break this into 2 parts. One is intellectual, another is property. So what is the meaning of property? What is the notion of property in your mind? कोई बताना चाहेगा what is property?
Something which belongs to us. For example, some innovation or something which we have discovered for the very first time is is the property which belongs to us, and we file IP because we feel ki if we have innovated, we need to be remembered in the society with for the
Yes,
IP.
yes, you are correct. So the general notion of property is something over which you have your possession, something which is in your control. That is your property. Your creation is your property in the general sense. Okay. So property is something over which you have your possession, जिसके ऊपर आप अपना अधिकार समझते हो. And intellectual is derived from the word intellect. Okay. And the literal meaning of intellect is reasoning, creativity, objectivity, or the mental ability. The ability to reason, the ability to create something, wisdom, this all is intellect. And people who possess this intellect, they are intellectual. Every now and then we read this term in the newspapers, intellectual. India is full of intellectual people. So intellectual people are those people who have this intellect, who have the ability to reason, who have creativity, objectivity. Okay. And intellectual property is some innovation, invention, or creation of mind. Something that you have created by the application of your mind through your knowledge. That is the intellectual property. Okay, am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so intellectual property, whenever you have created something, if you have created something that may have the aesthetic value. Okay, like the painting. Painting is a thing of beauty. Okay, it has aesthetic value. It has some artistic value. Or there may be some creations which have social values. Social values which have utility. Like when the Edison invented that bulb that has social utility. But when a painting is created that has only the aesthetic value, that has no other utility, that only soothes your mind, that is a thing of beauty. So what you will do when you are taking the notes, you will write everything that I am saying, and you will left the right portion of your paper, you will left a broad margin on the right portion of your paper so that new things can be added to it later on. Okay, and after each lecture, you will left 1-2 pages so that new notes can be added to it from the newspaper. As we go on, we can add some things. Am I clear? So please take the notes for intellectual property. Intellectual property means some innovation, invention, or creation of mind. Use these definitions handy to be used directly in examination. Okay, so you must have the definition of intellectual property. Intellectual property is something, some innovation, creation, or invention of mind. Now, what are these intellectual property rights? Whenever you have created something, so you have the exclusive rights over your creation. So the rights of the intellectual property, they are the recognition that this is your possession, this is your creation. So is there any question?
Sir, is music also included?
Sorry, you are not audible. Please be loud.
Sir, is music also included?
Yes, yes. Music has aesthetic value. Okay. Music also is a thing of beauty. It has aesthetic value. It is
Sir,
creation.
what exactly does aesthetic mean? Like
Aesthetic means हिंदी में अगर इसको समझेंगे तो वो जो अभिभूत कर दे. Okay.
okay.
Am I clear?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Artistic, something artistic. Okay, जो अभिभूत कर दे, जिसको देख के मन मोहित हो जाए. That is aesthetic.
You are
So
now
intellect. Yes, please. Yes, please. Please, one at a time.
You are now unmuted.
A patent can be included in the intellectual property, right?
Yes, yes. Patents are included in the IPR that we will cover later on in this lecture. Patents are intellectual property. And they are granted for some technological innovation. If Edison had invented a bulb, then Edison had the patent for it. Patents are awarded for technological innovation, some scientific innovation. And that is why we are doing this IPR in the science and technology. Okay, see this topic IPR, they have an overlap with Indian economy. And there is an overlap with polity. Okay. So this subject can be covered, can be read in the three heads: science and tech, economy, and polity. So intellectual property rights, these are the rights given to a person or any entity or the creation of their mind. Okay. And the creator has the exclusive right over his creation. These rights basically give a recognition to the innovator. The creator gets a recognition. Now let me tell you a brief history of the intellectual property rights. See what happened in the Roman times. The Roman brick makers, they used to make bricks and they used to left a distinctive stamp over their bricks, a distinctive mark over their bricks, so that the world will know that these bricks belong to the Roman brick makers. Is there any question? See, in the ancient times, during the Greek period, yes, please. Someone was asking a question, please go on. You are not audible, beta.
Sir, it
Yes, yes, go ahead, please.
is from the institution itself, like someone who Plutus IAS itself. I mean, someone has logged in, and that's the sound from there. So
I cannot hear you.
Sir, there is someone who was logged in from Plutus IAS itself, and that microphone is
Okay, okay, okay. Let me check it.
except the
please
other login
contact
from
anyone
Plutus
and
IAS.
ask someone, so you will be clear of that.
Okay, shall I go ahead?
Yeah.
Sir, one thing more, sir. Sir, we
Yes, please.
generally use this chat box, sir, because sir, most of the times disturbance आता है. So we
Okay.
most of the times we are using chat box. My request आपको whenever there is some problem, we will write in the chat box itself, sir. If there is any
Okay,
such, so I
okay.
request you please just keep on looking, have a look at the chat box also, sir.
Okay,
So
fine.
on the top of the screen, you can see who is speaking because the name will be appearing with the light and mute button and all. So on the top of the screen, you can see. So now the one who is talking is Maria, and for the IAS, two persons are available. One is you, and one is
Okay.
from the institution. So you can ask both so that the disturbance won't be there.
Okay, okay, okay.
And if there is any query, people would also use the chat box to express that. You can answer it through the portal.
Okay, okay, fine. So what happened in the ancient Roman times, the Roman brick makers, they used to put a distinctive stamp over their bricks or their creation. They did it because they wanted the world to know wherever their brick reaches, so that the people will know that these bricks are of the Roman brick makers. So that is a crude example of the intellectual property. So they put a stamp over their creation so that the world will know that these bricks are the Roman bricks. वो लोग ईंटें बनाते थे, उस पे एक डिस्टिंक्टिव मार्क उन्होंने लगाया और उस मार्क को देख के पूरे वर्ल्ड में कोई भी बता सकता था कि ये ब्रिक्स रोमन एम्पायर के ब्रिक मेकर्स की है. And there is also an instance in the Roman times that the exclusive rights to prepare a particular dish, they were granted to a particular person. Only a single person had the rights to cook that particular dish. So that is an example of monopoly from the ancient times. It is an example of monopoly from the ancient times when only a single person had the rights to cook a particular dish. And there is also an example from ancient India. In the ancient India, we have these punch-marked coins. See, these punch-marked coins, they belong to the Mauryan age. In the ancient India, you will read it. Punch-marked coins, they belong to the Mauryan age. And on these punch-marked coins, we have the imprint of some animals like peacock. Peacock or some other animal, it can be a tiger, a lion, or later on, over these punch-marked coins, we had the images of kings and even gods. So we can easily say that by looking at these coins, we can easily say that this particular coin belongs to a particular king in the ancient times. This particular coin belongs to the Guptas, or this particular coin belongs to the Kushans. It can be easily ascertained from it. Okay, so these are also crude examples of trademark. Okay, so these are some examples of intellectual property. See, intellectual property, since it is related to, yes, Dishang, it is branding. Branding is basically like Nike. Nike has a logo. No one else can use it. So Nike has the exclusive rights over its brand, over its distinctive, that right tick mark. Exclusive right is of Nike. So branding is also kind of intellectual property.
So branding, trademarking, patents are just parts of an whole.
These are types of intellectual property.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, welcome. So what happened since the beginning of human civilization? The growth of human civilization is because of the application of human mind, and by that application of mind, that intellectual property, the notion of intellectual property naturally arises. So that is why we have these bricks having the distinctive stamp of the Roman brick makers. As the civilization grows, that is, as the application of mind increases by the humans, then intellectual property naturally arises from it. Okay. So let's move ahead. See these intellectual property rights, the rights that are recognized over the creation of your mind. These intellectual property rights, they are not natural rights. Okay. Natural right means which occur naturally to you, which are inseparable or inalienable. Okay, these are the inalienable rights and these are universal. Natural rights are those which are inalienable and which are universal rights. So intellectual property rights, they are not natural rights. Okay. Intellectual property rights, they are recognized by a law. Statute means law. You must have studied in your polity that statute is basically law, and these are passed by the parliament. So these intellectual property rights, they are recognized by the parliament through a law. Parliament passes a law, okay, and through that law you are granted the rights over your intellectual property. So these are legal rights and not the natural rights. An example of natural right is right to life or right over your body. Everyone will agree that each person has the right over his or her body. So natural rights, they are not granted by anyone, but they are recognized everywhere in the world. That is why they are universal. In each country, every country will agree that right to life is sacred. Right to life belongs to every person. Okay. The right over your body, it is your exclusive right. Each country in the world, each government in the world will recognize it. That is why they are universal. And they are inalienable. Wherever you will go, you have these basic rights with you. But what happens with legal rights? Legal rights, they changes as the territory changes. When you go from India, say to a Western country, then the law will change. Different laws will apply to you. But the right to life, it will remain same in both the countries. Right over your body, it will be the same in both the countries. Natural rights, they do not change their form when you change the territory. But legal rights, they change their form as the government changes. I think I am clear. So what these rights do, because they are granted by a government, so here the role of government is very important. Okay. And these rights, basically, they provide security to the innovator. The innovator feels secure when there is a proper legal framework to protect his or her innovation. The innovator feels secure. And in such an atmosphere, the innovation, the creativity is incentivized. Okay. These intellectual property rights regime, they incentivize creation and innovation. When you feel that your innovation will be protected, okay, then you will be more inclined to work on it. If, for example, if you have created something, if you have written a very good article, and suppose you are given a task in your classroom that you have to write a very good article on, say, these on India, on the ancient India, and you have written a very good article on it by spending your 4-5 hours. 4-5 घंटे लगा के आपने एक बहुत अच्छा आर्टिकल लिखा अपने असाइनमेंट के लिए, एंड कोई दूसरा स्टूडेंट उसको कॉपी कर ले और उसको अपना बना के टीचर के सामने रखे, तो आपको कितना बुरा लगेगा। आपकी जो इनोवेशन क्रिएशन थी वो किसी और ने चुरा ली, तो वहां पे आपके राइट्स को कौन एनफोर्स कराएगा? अगर कोई एक प्रोटेक्टिव मैकेनिज्म नहीं है तो आपकी इनोवेशन चोरी हो गई। तो इसीलिए these rights, these laws are very important. In the case of intellectual property, the government protects your right. If someone stalls your innovation, if someone stalls your creation, then the government will protect you through its mechanisms. We will see it later on, how the government provides you protection. We will see it. Disha is asking who introduced it first. You mean to say who introduced the intellectual property rights first? See, India is having, I think, the copyrights law from the times of the Britishers. After the medieval times, in the modern era, each country has laws on the intellectual property rights. Yes, intellectual property rights, they were not recognized during the medieval times. Okay. Because the law making process, the parliament, the new form of government, they belong to the modern times. After the industrial revolution, you will read it in world history. So I have explained you.
Sir, one question, sir.
Yes,
So
please.
these IPR, these are legal rights, sir.
Yes, IPR are legal rights.
But sir, you said they are universal, sir, and they.
No. I said that the right over intellectual property is not a natural right. The right over intellectual property is not a natural right. They are recognized by a statute, by a law of the government, though made by the parliament.
Okay, because they are not universal, sir. They are not universal rights.
They are not universal. See, the intellectual property regime, it changes from country to country. The intellectual property laws in India, they are different from the intellectual property laws that are in the United States, that are in Japan, or that are in Australia. They vary from country to country. And that is why India has a tussle with United States. The companies of the United States, they blame that Indian IPR regime is against to the innovation. So there is always a tussle going on between India and United States over the IPR laws of India.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Sir, I have a query.
Yes, please.
So when we innovate something in technology or
Yes,
in
please.
some other sector, how
Yes.
can we protect our right globally? Because like I work in Tech Mahindra, I have introduced something new. So how
Yes.
will I protect that, and I can showcase to the world that that particular product belongs to Tech Mahindra, and not to some
Okay.
other company or something? Because you said it is only for India and not global, so that is
See,
why I was just
each country has its own IPR regime. Whenever a company, say Tech Mahindra, it decides to invest in, say, United Kingdom. So before investing in the United Kingdom, this company will check the IPR laws of United Kingdom. And only after taking informed decision, they will decide whether they want to have their plant in United Kingdom or not. Okay, they will first scrutinize the IPR laws of United Kingdom, and then only they will decide whether they want to have their presence in United Kingdom or not. Because whenever a company establishes its plant in another country, then they will naturally take up their technology with them. And they would want that their technology, it should be protected. So that is why they first scrutinize the IPR laws. the intellectual property regime of any particular country, they will scrutinize it and then they will decide.
Okay, sir, I got it.
Okay. So I told you that natural rights, they are universal, fundamental, and inalienable. I explained you the natural rights, what are they, and how the intellectual property rights, they are not natural rights, because the intellectual property rights, they can be repealed by any government. Tomorrow, the Indian government can pass a law and it can altogether change the IPR structure, the protection granted to the intellectual property. They can change it overnight. So the IPR laws, they are dynamic. The government of the day can change them. So these are legal rights, and legal rights are different from natural rights. Legal rights are dynamic. They can be changed. They can be modified. Okay, they can be even repealed by the government. So why this intellectual property protection regime is important? This regime is important because innovator, look at it from the perspective of innovator. Innovator wants two things. He wants recognition and he wants money. दो ही चीज की रिक्वायरमेंट है इनोवेटर को. एक तो उसको उसकी क्रिएशन के लिए रिकॉग्निशन मिल जाए. द वर्ल्ड शुड रिकॉग्नाइज हिम. और दूसरा, थोड़े से यार उसको कमाई भी हो जाए इससे, तो फाइनेंशियल बेनिफिट्स एंड रिकॉग्निशन. Innovator basically needs these two things, and intellectual property protection regime of any country this regime tries to protect the interest of the innovator. Okay, and as I have told you earlier, that before making a decision on investing in a country, a company scrutinizes the IPR regime of the destination country. If the Ford want to establish their plant in India, they will first take a team of legal experts and they will scrutinize the Indian IPR laws. Only then the company will make a decision whether they want to come to India or not. And इसीलिए मोदी जी इतनी मेहनत कर रहे हैं. मोदी जी ने बहुत सारे लॉस पास किए हैं ताकि इंडियन आईपीआर रिजीम फेवरेबल हो जाए बहुत सारी कंपनीज के. You all must have read in the newspaper that ease of doing business India is doing good in the field of ease of doing business. Okay, so the companies, they are favoring India as a good destination to establish their presence. So in the field of ease of doing business, the government has done many changes in the IPR laws so that the companies can invest in India. They can come to India. Okay. So the rights, they are granted by a law. These are legal rights and these rights are granted by a law. And rights have no meaning if there is no mechanism to enforce them. Do you agree with me? Rights are merely a worthless declaration if there is no protection to enforce them. Okay, merely a piece of paper. Rights are merely a piece of paper if no mechanism is there to protect them. So what happens? The government has passed laws and there is an enforcement mechanism. If your rights are violated, you can go to the courts and the courts will hear your matter and they will pass a judgment in a timely manner. So in the case of IPR, the government has passed some laws by virtue of which the judgment has to be passed in a given time frame, in a specific time frame. So government is actively working on this part. Like if you have a fight with your sibling, if you have beaten up your younger brother, then your younger brother can go to your father and he can say to your father that my rights are violated, then your father is the enforcer of the rights of your younger brother. आपने ऐसे नहीं कि उसको लपड़ मार दिया और वो बेचारा चला जाएगा वायलेट होकर, वो फादर के पास जाएगा एंड फादर विल एनफोर्स हिज राइट्स. ओके, सो दिस सिक्योर लीगल एनवायरनमेंट, it invokes confidence in the investor or the innovator. The innovator gets recognition and innovator gets the financial benefits. Okay, but at the same time, the government has to do one thing. You have protected the rights of the innovator. The rights of innovator are protected by these laws. Yes, please, Aman. Aman has raised a very big question. If India develops COVID-19 vaccine, how can IPR regime protect it to be copied by a foreign country? See, this COVID-19 pandemic, COVID-19 is a threat to humanity. So what governments are trying, they are trying that we have to protect the rights of the innovator and we have to serve the larger purpose of saving human lives. So there is a balance between the rights of the innovators and the public purpose.
सर अगर कोविड-19 की जगह कोई और एग्जांपल होता तो?
कोविड-19 के केस में इनोवेटर्स के राइट्स को काफी हद तक वायलेट किया जा सकता है, क्योंकि यहाँ पे बात है ह्यूमैनिटी को सेव करने की. अगर कोविड-19 की जगह पे वैक्सीन के प्लेस पे कोई और एग्जांपल होता तो वहां पे इनोवेटर को प्राइमेसी होती. बट एट द एंड वी हैव टू सेव द ह्यूमैनिटी. सो दे यस
सर, अगर आईपीआर जो है वो केवल इंडिया में ही एप्लीकेबल है, इंडिया का लॉ आईपीआर इंडिया में ही एप्लीकेबल है, तो बाहर किसी फॉरेन बंदे को ये उसके ऊपर एप्लीकेबल नहीं है, तो उसको कैसे रोकेगा कॉपी करने से किसी भी फॉर्मूले को या किसी चीज को?
सी, देयर इज एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन WIPO, WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization.
Yes.
And this comes under the United Nations. Basically, WIPO is a forum, and in this forum, all the countries of the world, they participate.
Yes.
So, because of the efforts of the WIPO, there is a uniformity in the IPR laws, and there are only small minor changes as per the requirement of a country. More or less, the intellectual property rights regime broadly of all the countries, it has to be same. You can do small changes as per your requirements. So there is a world body, WIPO, okay, which ensures that there is a coherence between the different IPR laws. There can be minor changes as per your situation of your country, but broadly, all the IPRs, the basic principles of the IPR, they should be same.
Okay, sir. So, sir, do we have to register in WIPO also?
No, we are, because we are the member of United Nations.
Yes.
So naturally, we also participate in WIPO. Actually, we actively participate in WIPO, in this forum. India is very active as far as intellectual property rights are concerned. Okay. So through the IPR regime, we have protected the rights of the innovator. But what about the general public? The rights of general public and especially the poor people, they are also to be protected. So a balance is to be achieved between the rights of the poor people and the rights of the innovator. तो इसलिए अगर कोविड-19 के लिए कोई वैक्सीन बन रही है तो वहां पे पुअर की, यार वहां पे लाइफ का सवाल है, तो वहां पे प्राइमेसी पुअर को दी जाएगी. इनोवेट, यहाँ पे किसी की जिंदगी बचानी है, जैसे कि कैंसर ड्रग्स के लिए. Cancer drugs के लिए what India does for the patented medicines. See what the companies do. Companies, they do huge investment in the research and development of any drug, be it vaccine or be it a cancer drug. They do huge research and development to develop a particular vaccine, and that is why the original medicines, they are very costly. Like the cancer drugs are costly, and the poor people, they cannot afford these costly drugs. So what the government does, government uses this patented technology, and by using that patented technology, government produces medicine. Government produces the same medicine by the same process. Okay, and government makes a pledge to the innovator, to the patenter, that we will use this medicine only to serve our poor. This medicine will be used only for our poor people. Okay, so government makes the same medicine using the technology of the innovator and provides that medicine only to the poor. So that is how the balance is reached. Government is not selling those medicines in the market. Government is using them only for the needy. So this balance is reached. The patenter, he has to trust the government, and government also does not breaches that trust, because if the government breaches the trust of the innovator will leave the country, and no other innovator from the world will come to India and will invest in research and development within India. So that is why government also does not breaches that trust. Government uses that patented technology only to serve its poor population. I think I'm clear. Generic medicines, yes, Suman, are those. Basically, these are the generic medicines which we have produced by using the patented technology of the research and development innovator.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Yes, please.
sir, in the return, after serving the poor people, the government will pay money to the patent owner, sir.
Yes, yes. The innovator will get his money. He will get the financial benefits for it. Royalty fees, basically. Okay. The innovator gets a royalty fee. We will see in the patents that whenever an innovator makes public the information about his patent, all the technical information, he publishes his information. Then for making that information public, he gets the royalty fee. We will see it later on. So in India, we have Ministry of Commerce. And under the Ministry of Commerce, there are several departments. You should make a diagram like this in your copy. Under the Ministry of Commerce, there are several departments, and one such department is Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. Its name was changed recently, and before it was DIPP, Department for Industrial Policy and Promotion, and now it has become Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. So this name has been changed recently, and under this department we have an office for Controller General of Patents, Design and Trademarks. So this office will handle all the IPR issues in India. All the IPR issues, they will be handled by this Controller General of Patents, Design and Trademarks. Okay. You can make this diagram. At the top we have the Ministry of Commerce, and below it we have several departments, and one such department is Department for Industrial Promotion and Internal Trade, and below this department we have this office for Controller General of Patents. So this office will handle all the IPR issues in India. Now, what are the types of IPR? let's look into it. See, we can divide the IPR, intellectual property, into two broad portions. One is the copyright and the related rights. So this is one category, copyrights and the related rights. And the other category is industrial property. So please write in your copy that intellectual property rights can be divided into two broad categories. One category consists of copyrights and the rights related to copyrights. And the other category is industrial property. So these are two broad categories of the IPR, industrial property and the copyrights and related rights. And under the industrial property, we have these other intellectual properties, which are trademarks. We have geographical indication. We have the patents. We have industrial designs, and we have the trade secrets. So all of these will be covered under the head industrial property, and we will be covering copyrights and related rights separately. I think I'm clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Now let's start with copyright. See, this copyright, this right is granted for two types of work. One is literary work and the other is artistic work. The literary works are those if you have written a book, if you have written an article, if you have created a poem, then copyrights will protect your creation. Okay, and this creation, your literary work, it does not have any public utility. It has only one purpose, that you can say that it can be for entertainment purpose, or it has some aesthetic value. Okay, and copyrights, they also protect the artistic work. Artistic work, like if you have created music, if you have created a sculpture, you have created a painting, then these work have only entertainment value, aesthetic value. And if you have created computer programs have utility. They serve some purpose in the society. Okay, they serve the people. Pooja is asking, don't they do a minute formula change? You are asking the government. No, what? The government sells those same medicine at a cheaper rate because the government has not invested in research and development. See, when companies are producing medicines, then they are investing in research and development, and that is added to the cost of final medicine. That is why the cost of cancer drug by the company will be higher, because they have invested in research and development. Okay, that cost will also be included in the final cost of the medicine. This is the supply side. You must have read this in the economy. This is the price is high because of the supply side, but government has not invested in research and development. That is why the medicine is cheaper. The technology used is same. Okay, fine. So even the databases and the films only have the entertainment value, and films are also protected by copyright. So these copyrights, they provide protection to literary and artistic work even after the death of the author. If the author dies, then your work will be protected for at least a period of 50 years. Even 50 years after the death of the author, the work will be protected through copyrights. Okay. Now let's move on to the rights related to copyrights. See, this second category, the rights related to copyrights, they have slightly less protection than the copyrights. Okay, when you are granted these related rights, these have slightly lesser degree of protection than the copyrights, and these are also known as the neighboring rights. Okay, so related rights are also known as neighboring rights, and they protect the rights of the performers. Like the rights of some rights of the actors, they are protected. The rights of the singers who are the performers, their rights will be protected by it. The rights of the musician, that will be protected. Basically, it gives protection to the performers. Broadcasting organizations, they all are covered under the related rights, and the degree of protection, it is slightly lesser than the copyrights. That is important. Please write it in your notes. The degree of protection is slightly lesser than the copyrights. I hope I'm clear. Aman is typing something. See, Ruxana, one is copyright and other rights are related rights. These related rights, they are not giving protection to the music. They give protection to the musician. So one thing is very important when we are talking about the relative rights, it protects the rights of the performers. Rights of the performers are protected by related rights. Yes, Aman?
Sir, which type of rights of performers?
Like an actor can have a unique style. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So protection will be granted to it. Okay.
Yes.
If someone कोई तबला बजाने वाला है, then इनके स्पीड में भी थोड़ा वेरिएशन है. समझ रहे हो ना? अलग अलग they are identified by their skills. Same instrument को बजाने वाले बहुत सारे लोग हैं, but they are identified by their skills. Okay, so in the related rights, the rights of the performers, they are protected. I think you have your economy class at 6 p.m. So we will continue from here tomorrow. If you have any questions up till now, you can ask them. Are there any questions? Dishank is typing something. Okay, Dishank.
You are now unmuted.
So I have a question.
Yes, please, Disha.
So the sports personalities can be included in the rights related to copyright?
Sports personalities, I'm not sure about it. I will tell you tomorrow. See, if the sports can be treated as art, then they may be granted some protection. But I don't think so. The sportsmen will be protected by the related rights, because the government does not consider the sport as an art until Sachin Tendulkar was nominated to Rajya Sabha under the section art, because sportsmen cannot be nominated to Rajya Sabha, but the argument was given that sport is also an art, so Sachin Tendulkar can be nominated to the Rajya Sabha. But I don't, that was one aberration. I don't think that the rights of the sportsman will be protected by it. I don't think so, but I will confirm it to you tomorrow. Anyone else?
So you said that the work will be protected for minimum 50 years. So this is inclusive of the time period when a person is alive and he is dead, or this is after death?
After the death. After the death, 50 more years.
Okay, the lifetime plus 50 years after the death.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Anything else? So what is scrutinize? Scrutiny. SC स्क्रूटिनी मीन्स किसी चीज की अच्छी तरीके से जांच कर लेना। ओके, एक बारी हमारे आईपीआर लॉस को वो स्क्रूटिनाइज करेंगे, इसका मतलब है वो हमारे आईपीआर लॉस को पढ़ेंगे, उनको अच्छे से जांचेंगे, फिर देखेंगे कि ये उनके लिए सही है या नहीं है। दैट इज स्क्रूटनी। ओके, जांच पड़ताल करेंगे। With copyright after the death of the author, copyright generally goes for 50 years after the death. No, copyrights, they do not need renewal. We'll see tomorrow that patents are generally granted for 20 years and they need renewal. We do not need a renewal for the copyrights. Someone was typing a question and he stopped. Please go ahead with your question. Frankie Singh is asking something. Go ahead, Frankie. No question. Okay, can we end the session?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine.
Thank you, sir.
So there was a request.
Yes, please.
So can you please use some other color of pen because red is not visible.
Okay, fine.
Thank you, sir.
I will take care of it. You're welcome. Okay, guys, take care. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay.